Hello and thanks for staying with us. The Assistant Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service speaks on the arrest of foreign smugglers across the Western Zone. Also on Customs report, Apapa Customs Command intercept containers of drugs worth over 100 billion naira, plus more reports. I am Igesemi Etienne. Stay tuned. The Assistant Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service in charge of Zone A has warned smugglers against foreign smuggling outside the country. He handed down the warning in Lagos. He speaks more on issues affecting the Nigerian Customs Service.
Actually, I think training these days are the main thing. Because at area level, there is limit to what a controller can do. Like this armed trainings, I think there is no need for one to travel all the way from here to Kaduna or to Abuja to train. We have military formations all over, and the relationship between custom and military formation has been very, very cordial. Maybe the impact of retired controller general, retired Colonel Alibian and ex-military man. And after my visit of training college, I discovered that, in fact, the facility there is being underutilized. Before I came here, don't forget that I was coordinator at Zombi. I visited training college, Kano. In fact, the state is almost same with this. And for that reason, we put a memo trying to revive some traditions in the areas of training, like this refresher. There used to be what we call refresher course, that where custom officer will be reminded of the basics of custom operation. And right now, as I'm talking to you, our staff officers all over the Federation are gathered at Staff College, Gwagwalada, and are going a training for them to be put through on what is expected of them.
So what is the degree of collaboration with other agencies operating?
In fact, it's fantastic. If there is any word to describe it, I think I should use it. Because before I came here, at one point, I was at investigation. A seizure was made. Immediately after container was released from the seaport. Because the information was not shared. Otherwise, that container would have been, tagged right from the seaport. But because then, I'm not trying to apportion blame, the NDLEA, I think they felt the information should not be shared, and they kept it to themselves until the container has been released. And that tells you that the relationship wasn't as cordial as it should be. But now, one can see there is no such seizures. When there is information, be it was custom, be it was NDLEA, be it was Nesria, be it was any agency at all, you discover that we share it, and we instantly nip whatever is there in the boot. The relationship has been very cordial. In fact, part of my plan is by next week, I'm planning to visit GOC here, as well as the zonal coordinator of road safety. So it's something ongoing. It's a tradition that no right-thinking man will allow to die in his hand. We will continue to partner with each and every stakeholder for the success of our own operations.
So what measures do you have on ground to make sure that the freight forwarders or the agents that were giving the license for fast track don't deviate from that? Do you have any measures to make sure that this is done?
Yes. I think from many reports, it has been established beyond doubt that fast track has been abused on many occasions. In fact, several times. But as at now, I believe at a point, they were all neutralized, that it has been suspended, that there was need for them to revalidate so that they can operate. Fast track is a vehicle meant for facilitation of trade. But unfortunately, many people abuse it. In fact, someone who is not even a manufacturer or whose importation is so limited could just go and acquire that platform. And I think now the reverse is the case. It is no more for everybody except for those it is meant for.
Yes, the post-clearance audit unit of the command in the Western Zone. What has been their level of collection, if you have any idea?
Yeah, I have.
In 2017.
In 2017, they have done wonderfully well. And I think I relate that with a couple of hands we have there. The controller who was in charge, in fact, no dispute about that. He is one of the best brain we have in the areas of revenue collection and that custom technicalities in the person of Abdullahi Babani. And last year, they were able to collect no less than 16 billion from that. And if this type of thing is to continue, it's a kind of mixed feeling. Mixed feeling in the sense that if higher collection is being made, then our officers in the field are not doing the right thing. But at the same time, if you look at it from the facilitation of trade, it means that goods get to the owner's premises without being subjected to custom formalities, except after landing in the premises. So that facility, I think, is rising to the occasion, and we appreciate their effort. And in addition to that, the person who is brought here to take over from him is equally a grounded revenue officer. So we are hoping that many will be achieved.
There's the issue of your officers. So last year, for instance, issue of operation. Can you tell us how they fared last year?
In that area, actually, compliance, I think our collection of last year can prove to anyone that there is serious improvement in the even conduct of the officers. Then, in the course of our duty, in fact, we experienced so many horrible things. It is in that regard that an attempt is being made to prepare something for the benefits of some incapacitated or dead, for the use of the benefit of the dead officers. A lot of our officers were killed in the course of duty. In fact, even last month, January, I think 2 officers died in the course of their duty. And most of these deaths occur at border areas or in the hinterland where our officers are on information patrols. Like the last 2 guys who died were hit by motorists who tried to flag them down, but unfortunately they went ahead to unjustly kill them. Then in Ogun State, for example, we have so many skirmishes with smugglers. And on that, we call on populace to see us as partners in progress. A smuggler stands alone. His benefit is for him alone. While if custom officer fights smuggler, it's for the benefit of Nigerian. If Nigerian assists custom officer to fight a smuggler, that is equally for the benefit of Nigerian. So why can't we gang up against smuggler?
You are watching the program Customs Report. The Assistant Controller General of Nigerian Customs Service in charge of ICT has been given an award by World Customs Organization in Abuja. The ACG has this to say on the award bestowed on him.
WCO is an international organization that all world custom organizations are tied into. And if we in Nigeria Customs Service, particularly in the modernization department of Nigeria Customs Service, had contributed so much to make sure that the trade facilitation that WCO champion it is being driven by our modernization programs, then it's a thing of a joy. And as I said earlier, we are moving higher to making sure that compliant trade is done at the comfort of any trader in Nigeria. The collection of duty, we want it to be done such a way that it is very simple, it's very easy, and it's predictable. And make sure that anybody who wants to invest in Nigeria knows that when it comes to Nigeria Customs Service, we are upping our games. We are deepening our own strategy of modernizing every single procedure that relates to trade. As you know, the new program we have on ground, which is the full automation on Nigeria Customs Service, by delivering a paperless custom organization where you have zero paper. Everything will be done by the system. And you know, in such an environment where we will assist in fighting corruption, because most of the corruption that is being attached to custom is when things are done manual, when things are not transparent, when you cannot know the beginning and the end, and then when people have too much discretion to undertake certain things. But with digitalization of our business environment, we know that such discretionary powers and transparency will come to bear, and then we reduce corruption, and secondly, increase investment. Because any trader who wants to do business, he is doing business to get profit. And the road to profit is to understanding clearly what are the risks, what are the procedures, how do I start from here, how do I end. And when you see a clear picture of what he will obtain at the end of his business transaction, he is encouraged to invest more. And you know, we are not only talking of handling of imports. In the new modernization drive we are going to look at our export business and make sure that our export is done such a way that people are encouraged more to export, so that when next time we are declaring revenue to federal government, we will only be declaring revenue of what we are collected from import, but how much we are earned as a foreign trade and balancing our trade. Because if we get our export correct, that means we will be buying less from the foreign countries, but we will be exporting more. Because Nigeria has the capacity not only to take care of their own economy, but to help other sister organizations and countries neighboring us. We have their scale, but the problem we have now is our export procedure are now where, determined. That is, we are not established the proper procedure. So our modernization drive, particularly the e-custom drive, we make sure that we deepen and restructure all our business process relating to export. So we'll be collaborating a lot with particularly partner government agencies that are being embedded through the export trade to make sure that this is done. So the WCO will look at us next time, looking at us as a more developed custom organization, not only for import procedures, but for export procedure that increases the custom, and that is the custom capacity to increase the Nigerian government revenue in all aspects and balancing trade. This is what we are looking at. The theme of the International Custom Day today is a secure business environment for economic development. Like I say, when something is secured, that means you can determine what is the outcome. It is in a safe environment. That means Nigeria Customs Service role is make sure that trade must be secured. Trade must be transparent. Trade must be predictable. And you can only do that by modernizing your business process, by making sure that everybody understands clearly what are the business rules. What is it exactly you need to know and need to do as a trader if you are an importer or an exporter? This is the only way you can secure trade. That is making somebody comfortable enough to do business. That is even foreign direct investment. If our trade is secure here, we have more people who will come to invest in Nigeria, because as of now, I can tell you authoritatively that Nigeria is the economy that is have the opportunity to grow bigger than any existing developed economy right now. All we need to do in Nigeria Customs Service is to modernize our business environment and secure it for people to be attractive to come and do business here.
The Customs Area Controller in charge of Apapa Customs Command has been speaking on the seizure of containers of drugs made by its men. According to the Customs Area Controller, the 3x40-foot container with number MRSU 3637149 was imported by one Villan Gold Pharmacy from India, suspected to be containing controlled drugs. The seized containers were examined and were found to contain drugs smuggled into the country.
This tramadol is a regulated and controlled drug. So this transaction, we now have about 3 containers containing these drugs and other drugs that have been used, to conceal the offending drugs. So in essence, this transaction has about 4 established infractions. One, it doesn't have NAFDAC certification because it has not been declared. Normally when you're importing, you report to NAFDAC so that they can certify whatever you are importing as a regulatory agency. Now, it has also been imported in large milligram, over and above the approved milligram. Now, some of the medicaments have also been used in concealing. So there is false declaration, there is concealment, there is also lack of certification, as well as importing excess dose, of the medicament, which is very, very harmful, to a normal human being. You will wonder probably if these drugs have escaped our eagle eyes, and have found their way into the larger segment of the society. The ills in the society today include drug addiction among larger percentage of our youth. There is also delinquency among adults, all courtesy of these drugs that they use. So larger percentage of the population is being affected by this menace, of dangerous drugs going into the country. I may not be a medical personnel, so I may not know the extent of the damage these drugs do to the human body, both physical and psychological. But definitely from what I can see and how it affects our youth, so many of them, of our youth today, are roaming around the streets with their senses not really with them. And therefore, there is need for us, everybody, you gentlemen of the press, to make sure you enlighten Nigerians on the hazards, and also to make sure we do everything we can, from our different places of work, to make sure that we discourage, the influx of these dangerous drugs. This is come as a result of the credible intelligence that we have from our Custom Intelligence Unit in Apapa here. So the units have really been up and doing, and for some time now we have been reaping, the commitment and the work and the diligence of that unit.
Yeah, the question go back to the issue of the numbers of containers we're having right here. Are they 40 foot or 20 foot?
We have 43 by 40 footer containers. And the advice I'll give to importers and their agent is to remind them of their responsibility to their own nation. This is damaging the productive segment of our society, which is the youth. So, and nobody would like to have his child, to be engaged in using this type of drugs. So the importers should realize how would they have felt if it is any member of their relations that is affected by these dangerous drugs. So I'm calling on everybody to be patriotic. The importers, their agents should be patriotic enough as to know that this thing is causing serious damage, to our nationhood rather. So I'm calling on them to put a stop, please, to this terrible and very, very bad practice.
He also said that one person was arrested in connection with the seizure, has been granted administrative bail. The Customs Area Controller also disclosed that the command revenue for 2018 is put at 426 billion naira with a total monthly target of 35 billion naira. He also said that the command has collected so far 31 billion naira for the month of January.
We have improved our level of sensitization, calling on everybody who operates within the value chain, to make sure that he or she improves their levels of compliance. Now, I have also told you about the introduction of NISIS 2, which is a software that will definitely help in forcing compliance and also in revenue generation. So I'm hopeful that by God's grace we are going to meet and possibly surpass our target.
The Customs Area Controller in charge of semi-border has continued to warn smugglers who want to smuggle outside the country petrol that are meant for this country. He said that the command will continue to implement measures that will make sure that these consignments are not taken outside the country.
We decided to strategize our operation by monitoring all the trucks coming towards the border. To stop before the bridge, we check their documents. The genuine ones, we give one officer to go and offload and make sure they sell before we release another one. So we discovered these two are going to the same place we arrested those jerrycans. If you can see the name and address, European Global Limited, that is the name of the filling station close to the creek, where they used to upload and put in the jerrycan and cross it. Along Yekinmi Pashi Road, that is after Ode, you enter into the bush. That's exactly where it is. So these two are diversion to the place where they're going to do the bunkering to cross it to the other neighboring country. That's why we detain it now. When we call Abuja, whatever instruction they give us, then we seize it and they will direct us what to do with it. Because we cannot sell it here. It's too big, it's too much for this community. How many are they? There are very few. Another thing I want you to tell the public is that some have the impression that trucks are passing through the border. It's not true. I assure you the truck you see maybe passing through the border are the trucks under ETLs who carry cotton seed oil. They have a company in Lagos. They carry it from Benin to their company in Lagos. So when they are going back empty. So some people assume that they are carrying fuel. They are not carrying anything. Therefore, yesterday we arrested one. To our own surprise, when we opened, we discovered it was empty. When we look at the number, we see it was Benin number. So the impression that trucks of petrol are crossing through the border, not semi-border, tell anybody. And whoever tries it, he will see, look at this example. These people are trying to beat us, and we show them that we are more smarter than them. That's how we got this through. We don't stop any fuel from coming to the border, the bigger one. If you go to the corn oil now, they are selling. But we monitor them. We now give them one truck. If they sell, we confirm that it's finished, then we release another one. As of now, they have about 2 or 3 trucks we pack before the bridge. Immediately they finish selling, we release another one. And not only selling, around 6 o'clock, we go and measure, take the measurement of the remaining ones. So that in the morning before you start selling, we make sure that what we left is what we made so that you continue selling. If you try to siphon it in the jerrycan, we arrest you. We even make an undertaking. Each one of them wrote an undertaking that we promise you we are going to sell to the public. So that is the condition we are in now. We have a serious control measure now. I'm telling you, as of last week, a lot of those that knows they are for diversion, they have returned back to Lagos.
Just before I round up this week edition of the program Customs Report, we brought you a report where Apapa Customs Command intercepted containers worth over 100 billion naira, and the suspect was also arrested alongside with the containers. For me, Igiseme Ejie, thanks for watching.